Good morning, class. Good morning, students. I am CA Ankit Sharma and I welcome you all in our tax session. I am CA Ankit Sharma and I will be your tax session faculty for your next 5 sessions. So we will take up the subject that is called income tax. Before starting the topic, the subject, the chapter, let us discuss about the paper. This paper of intermediate in 2 parts, tax law, part 4A and paper 4B. So what is the marks distribution? Let's see this. Our paper tax law, which is paper 4, has 2 parts. Part 4A and 4B. 4A, that is income tax, which is a part of direct tax. And 4B is the part that's called GST. Income tax covered 60% marks and GST is like 40%. So our paper is like 100 marks paper, which includes 60% weightage of income tax and balance is 40% of GST. Clear? Now, before starting the concept, the chapter we are going to discuss today is basic concepts. Generally what happens, students think that basic concepts like theoretical provision in a numerical subject like income tax, that is technically not that relevant. Generally students think so, but please do not think like this. Because the basic concepts, the theoretical parts, is like the foundation of that subject, of any subject, whether it's numerical or etc. So income tax, generally we think it's a numerical subject, like accounts, like etc. But the theoretical concepts are as well as important as the practical concepts. Because the theoretical concepts give you the meaning, give you the base to understand the numerical concept. So do not underestimate the power of theoretical concept, just like that. Do not underestimate the power of a common man. So we will discuss each provision one by one. But before that, before starting on the basis of our notes, which I have uploaded on the site, I believe you all must have downloaded it from the portal. So before starting that notes concept, let us discuss about something very important about your subject, that is income tax. So we are going to discuss Income Tax Act 1961. We are going to discuss Income Tax Act 1961. Understand? Listen carefully. We are going to discuss Income Tax Act 1961. So when you will read this 1961, then you might think that the income tax is applicable in India from 1961. No. Don't even think about it. No. It is not this. We are studying Income Tax Act 1961, but it does not mean that income tax is applicable in India only from 1961. No. Actually, this is a very old concept. The collection of tax is a very old concept. Like, it belongs to the time when there were kings and kingdoms and queens, etc. In that time, at that time of age, it has been charged in the nature of Lagan. You understand the Lagan? Fine. So that the movie was Lagan was all about that. So the tax collection process was applicable in this world almost like 2000 years ago. So it was also applicable in India from very old time when there was king and kingdom. So what happened? The king charges from its kingdom, from its people, from its public, a certain amount of collection in the form of commodity when there was no currency. When there was no currency, then what happened? Kings charged tax in the form of commodity. And after the introduction of currency, that was start charging that tax, collection that tax in the form of currency, in the monetary forms. Understand? So this is only what we are studying is Income Tax Act 1961. So do not confuse that it is only applicable in India. The collection process starting from 1961. No, it was not so. So it's a very, very old provision. Yeah, we can say in India, the income tax collection in a structural way was start from 1860. From 1860, there was Sir James who started income tax or tax collection process in India in a structural way. And in 1886, a separate income tax act was formed for the collection of this process. And this act has been amended from time to time. Like in 1918, it was amended. Then in 1922, it was amended. And then after 1922, it was a new act which has been formed in 1961, what we are going to study. So this is just because I am telling you, because it is not in your study, etc. material, but I'm trying to make you understand that what you are studying, from where it originated. So we are just discussing the provision of Income Tax Act 1961. So if somebody asks whether income taxes is chargeable in India from 1961 onwards, then say no, it was not like that. So income tax was charged in India from before that also. A structural act was introduced in 1860, then 1886, then 1918, then 1992, and now it is 1961. I hope you all are clear regarding this. So this was the introduction part. That was general basic provision, that how or from where income tax originated. Clear? So a lot of students saying good morning. So let me say good morning again. Vivek, good morning. Subho, good morning. Mehak, good morning. Sushil, Path, Vandana, Sandeep, everybody is good morning. Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning. The second thing, a lot of people think why income tax has been applicable in India. Why income tax is there? We will discuss it. Understand why income tax, why government needs to charge, why government start collecting income tax. It's a very simple concept, very, very simple concept. Just take an example that you are living in a colony, of course. You're living in a society, a colony, etc. So what happened there? There is a management committee. There is a chairman and vice chairman and treasurer, etc. And what they do, they charge a society fees from each house. The collection charges, the society charges, whatever we can say. Okay? So what it happens, they charge a certain amount of money from each house. Why? To maintain the society, for the security facility, for the infrastructure facility, for the watchman facility, for the water facility, generator, inverter facility, etc., etc. Depends upon the societies. So they charge a certain amount from a house, like 1,000 rupees from each house. And that why? Because to maintain the society's issue, etc., and providing the facilities. Now imagine our country is a bigger society. Fine. So here is committees like president, prime minister, and ministers and state governments. In this country, they need money for education system, for medical facilities, etc., etc., etc. So they also need money to maintain this society named India. So how they'll get money? So they charge money in the form of tax. That is income tax, there is GST, there is custom act, etc., etc., etc. To providing you facility, to providing you security, etc. So that's why in our country tax are charged. So generally students think, a lot of students might think that why taxes has been charged. The reason is very, very simple. Take our country is like a bigger colony, and to maintain our country they need money, they need infrastructure, and that's for infrastructure, etc. facility. Government needs revenue, and from where revenue will fall? From the public, in the form of tax. So various tax has been imposed. One of the part is like income tax. I hope it's clear. Okay, now back to the notes, and now we will start our provision on the basis of notes. It's a very, very, very interesting subject. It's income tax. Income tax is very, very, I can say, beautiful, wonderful, and interesting subject. It affects a chartered accountant life on daily basis. On daily basis, I'm telling you. So please create your interest in your studies. I will also tell you how you can create your interest in studies. It's a very difficult thing, but I'll help you. We will discuss about each and everything one by one. Do not worry, I am here to solve all your queries. Fine. So just before starting the class, I already uploaded these notes on the portal, and there is some guidelines, there are some rules for each and everything. So I also uploaded this topic also on the portal. So there are some guidelines for the classes. If you want to take the maximum advantage of the class, please follow these guidelines. These are for your benefit. Okay. So the first is notes are based on study material issued by ICAI. Okay. Provisions are for assessment year 22-23. That is applicable for your November and May attempt of this year. Clear? All queries will be taken after 30 or 40 minutes of lecture. So what will happen if I start answering each and every query? If somebody is asking me right now, then I have to move on the query. I'll solve that query, and then our touch with the topic might be lost. So to avoid that problem, I just make a rule that you can send me your queries whenever you want, no issue. But I'll take up the queries after 30 or 40 minutes of the lecture, each and every query. Fine. There is a new thing I want to add in this class. Listen carefully. There are some students which belongs to Hindi medium also. So our lecture is only in English, of course. Our language will be English, only English. Fine. And if there is some student or any students want to ask query, and if he or she wants the answer in Hindi, then please after your query type answer in Hindi, sir. So I'll answer that query in Hindi as well as English. If there is any query, if there is nothing mentioned, I'll answer in only in English. But if there is any students who needs to or who wants to understand the answer in Hindi, so after your query, please write, so please explain in Hindi. And that query I'll explain in both, in Hindi as well as English. No other language I know only Hindi and English. No, don't ask me in Tamil, Telugu, etc., because I only know Hindi and English. Okay. So that's a new thing for you, which I'm adding from this lecture only. Okay. Please focus during lecture and ask query related to your topic. Certain students start asking, sir, what is the important topic? Question will come, how much question will come from practical part and etc. Do not ask these kind of questions. This shows that you are not focused what is actually happening. What we are doing over here, we are studying a topic. So please focus on the topic and ask the query which is related to your topic. That will not actually help you, but that's going to help us, each and every student. Those are part of this lecture. So please ask your query related to topic. Please try to take live lectures for better understanding, because you can ask query and I can solve it. Fine. There are some students who thinks we will see it later on YouTube, etc. You can see that also, but for a discipline, for a routine, for better understanding, for the better result, it's really required that you should watch live lectures of ICAI every topic. Kindly download notes before lecture for better understanding, of course, and I'll take an MCQ test after each session of our lecture. So when we reach like 9:20 a.m., etc., I'll take your MCQ test. So if you are taking class, be focused, because question will be based only on that topic, what we are discussing today. I hope it's clear. So moving on to our notes now. So before every notes, I have write down a quotation, and these are not quotation only. These are technically what I believe. This is reality. I personally believe, yes, this is the reality and it really helps you. These are my quotations, of course. Patience and hard work is the only key to success. If you want to clear chartered accountant course, if you want to be a CA, if you want to prefix CA with your name, you have to be patient and work hard. Intelligence is not the criteria to clear this examination. Of course, it's a quality, of course. Not it's like that. It's not important. But the basic key to clear this examination is hard work. I was not that intelligent person when I started pursuing CA. But yes, I was a very hard worker. I make a routine. I follow it. I follow it strictly. Whatever happens, I never miss my lectures. I never miss my class. I do not compromise with my routine, whether I need to sacrifice any marriages, function, party, etc. So that is what CA, course demand, sacrifice, hard work, and patience. If you can do this, you will be a CA very, very soon. So we are discussing income tax. We are going to discuss Income Tax Act 1961. I just told you that this is the act what we are discussing. That does not mean that there was no tax in India before 1961. Provisions are for assessment year 2022 and 23. Clear? Now, the origination of income tax, as we discussed, as we are going to discuss Income Tax Act 1961, it does not mean that income tax came into force from 1961. The concept of tax collection is very old, when kings and queens were there. Initially, it was in the nature of lagan, which has been charged by the king of a particular kingdom from its people public in kind and or in the form of money. And that regime means system, that culture, the custom is converted into a systematic structure that's called tax nowadays. Clear? Now, good morning again, good morning. Notes are available, good morning. Okay. Namaste, sir. Namaste. Okay. So that was origination, how it came. Now, types of taxes. Let me tell you, there are two types of revenue taxes in our country. One is direct tax and one is indirect tax. How it works, why the name is direct tax or indirect tax, let's discuss this. Like there are types of taxes. One is direct taxes and one is indirect taxes. Direct taxes, like for example, income tax, and indirect taxes like custom and GST. Okay, income tax, why we called it direct tax, or what is the meaning of direct tax and what is the meaning of indirect tax? Direct tax means the person who earn income need to pay tax. That means the person who is earning the income, he is only one who needs to bear the burden of tax. Like for example, if Mr. A is earning an income, if Mr. A is getting salary, if Mr. A is getting some income, then who needs to pay tax on this income? Mr. A needs to pay tax on this income. If I am earning some income, then who needs to pay tax? I need to pay the tax of upon that income. So that is directly imposed upon the person who bear the tax. That's why it's called direct tax. Understand? If there is Mr. Ram who is getting salary of 10 lakh rupees from some organization, then who need to pay tax on that income? Mr. Ram need to pay tax on that income. So that is directly imposed upon the person who earned that income. So we can say in case of direct taxes, the person who pay the tax and the person who bear the tax, the person who bear the tax are same. The burden to pay tax upon the person and the person who is technically or actually paying the tax are same person. If Mr. B is getting salary, if Mr. A is getting salary, if Mr. A is earning income, then who needs to pay tax? Mr. A. So the person who is technically bearing that, the person who is technically paying that are same. So that is directly imposed upon that person. In case of indirect tax, this is difference. In case of indirect tax, the person who is paying the tax, or we can say depositing the tax, paying or depositing the tax, is different from the person who is technically bearing the tax. The person who bear it, the person who paid, they are different. How? Let's take an example. If you are going to buy a chocolate, if you're going to buy a chocolate from a shopkeeper, that is 100 rupees MRP. MRP means maximum retail price inclusive of all taxes. So in this 100 rupees, assume 90 rupees is the cost or selling price of chocolate and 10 rupees is the GST, the tax part. Clear? So we are paying 100 rupees. So who is paying? Mr. X pay 100 rupees to the shopkeeper to get this chocolate. 90 belongs to the cost of or selling price of chocolate and 10 rupees is for GST. 90 and 10. Now what will happen? Mr. X pay 100 rupees to the shopkeeper. So who actually bear this 10 rupees? Mr. A, of course. And who is going to pay this tax to the government? Like if you are going to a shop and buy a chocolate, so you are paying 100 rupees. Are you going to the government to pay the GST of 10 rupees and 90 rupees to the shopkeeper? No. You are technically paying total 100 rupees to the shopkeeper. And he is the one who is going to deposit this 10 rupees. The shopkeeper going to deposit this 10 rupees to the government. So the person who is bearing that tax and the person who is paying that tax is different. That's why we called it indirect tax. Clear? That will be more discussed when you will study your paper 4B, that is GST. So income tax is a part of direct tax. That's what we were discussing. Let's back to the notes. Okay. These are types of taxes. If tax is levied directly on the income or wealth of a person, then it is a direct tax. The person who pays the tax to the government cannot recover it from somebody else. That is, the burden of a direct tax cannot be shifted on other person. That is, for example, income tax, the black money or undisclosed foreign income and asset and imposition of Tax Act 2015. These are examples of direct tax. And our syllabus is there is only Income Tax Act 1961. What is indirect tax? If tax is levied on the price of a goods or service, then it is an indirect tax. That's called goods or service tax or custom duty. In the case of indirect tax, the person paying the tax passes on the incidence to another person. So who was paying the tax? Shopkeeper. And what he does, he transfers his burden to the consumer. So in case of indirect tax, it's always consumer who needs to bear the tax. And the shopkeeper, the trader, the manufacturer, or the person, they are going to deposit it to the department. So here is a diagram which has been taken from the study, of course. It's a beautiful diagram. Types of taxes, direct tax have two parts, and indirect tax generally has two parts. Now, where it originated, from where the power to impose tax has been originated, and of course that is our Constitution of India. In our country, all acts has been originated from the Constitution of India. So Income Tax Act 1961 has also been originated from, of course, from Constitution of India. Why taxes are levied? I told you, because of our country, there are certain expenditure which the country needs to bear, of course. There is infrastructure, facility, etc. For this purpose, they need revenue, and that revenue has been collected from us in the form of taxes. That has been discussed, of course. The reason for levy of tax is that they constitute the basic source of revenue to the government. Revenue so raised is utilized for meeting the expenses of government, like defense, provision of education, healthcare, infrastructure, facilities like roads, dam, etc. Background. Income tax is the most significant direct tax. Entry 82 of the Union List, that is List 1 in the 7th schedule to Article 246 of the Constitution of India, has given the power to the Parliament to make laws on taxes on income other than agricultural income. Now, this is very interesting. Constitution has divided the power of imposing tax in India into two categories, like this. The Constitution has done this. Constitution says the power to impose tax, on income has been divided into two parts. What does it means? That Constitution says that in case of agricultural income, if you are earning an agricultural income, what is the meaning of agricultural income? We generally all know that the farming income, etc. What it is actually is, that will be discussed in our 5th session, chapter 3. In that chapter, we will discuss in detail what is the meaning of agricultural income. But for the time being, we can understand what is the agricultural income. Of course, the same income which has been earned by farming, etc. So the power to impose tax on agricultural income has been delegated to state governments, not central government. So state government will decide whether they want to charge income tax on the agricultural income of their respective states or not. And all other incomes except agricultural income, all other income like salary income, like business income, like rental income, like interest income, any other income except agricultural. The power to impose tax on other income has been delegated to the central government. They will decide whether these income liable to be income tax or not, and how they are liable to be income tax or not. So technically, there are two kinds of income for the purpose of chargeability of tax on the basis of state government and central government. So agricultural income will be taxable as per the provision or as per the power having with the state governments, and any other income that is going to be taxable or not will be decided by the central government. The power to impose tax on agricultural income is delegated to the state governments. Income tax came in force from 1st day of April 1962 and applicable whole of India. So Income Tax Act, what we are discussing is Income Tax Act 1961. But it is applicable from 1st day of April 1962. Listen it carefully. If an examination, there is an MCQ which has been asked, what is Income Tax Act? Which Income Tax Act has been applicable now? So we will answer 1961. And if it is asked from when Income Tax Act has been applicable, then the correct answer will be 1st April 1962. Power to levy tax. Levy means chargeability. That is called levy. Of course, the Constitution of India in Article 265, articles just like a section, etc., which has been included in Constitution. So the Constitution of India in Article 265 lays down that no tax shall be levied or collected except by authority of law. Accordingly, for levy of any tax, a law needs to be framed by the government. Constitution of India gives the power to levy and collect tax, whether direct or indirect, to the central and state government. The parliament and state legislatures are empowered to make laws on the matters enumerated in the 7th schedule by virtue of Article 246 Constitution of India. So this is the Article 246, which technically levy income tax provision, which is covered in 7th schedule. 7th schedule to Article 246 contains 3 lists which enumerated the matters under which the parliament and the state legislature have the authority to make law for the purpose of levy of tax. So there are 3 lists in which government will decide which taxes or law has been imposed by central government, which can be imposed by state government, and there are some on which both has power. Union list. Parliament has the exclusive power to make laws on the matters contained in union list. So union list, or we can say list 1, that is a list which has the item which has been decided only by the central government has been included in this. Like income other than agricultural income, armed forces, defense, etc. These are the things which has been covered or has been, we can say, controlled by central government. There are some things those has been controlled by state. The legislature of any state has the exclusive power to make laws on the matters contained in the state list, like police, like agricultural income, that has been exclusive power, which is exclusively controlled by the state governments. And there's concurrent list. Both parliament and state legislature have the power to make laws on the matters contained in the concurrent list. Just like medical facility, these are the things. There are other examples also, which has been decided. The power has been delegated to both. Current list means the power of those provisions, those acts which can be controlled by both state and central. These are the things which has been covered in concurrent list. Clear? Stages involved in Income Tax Act. The Income Tax Act, the three broad stages. All the provision, all the concept will be fall in out of these three, any of these three stages. First one is declaration of liability. Second one is assessment of liability. And third one is recovery of tax. So what is this? What does the declaration of liability means? What is the meaning of assessment of liability means? What is the meaning of recovery of tax? Let me explain you what is the meaning one by one. Declaration of liability means you have to declare your liability. Liability of your income, liability of your tax. So first stage says that every person in our country who is earning income needs to declare his tax liability. So he needs to explain about his income plus their tax, and he needs to deposit it also. So that is your liability. Like income tax department will not come to you and say, go and deposit tax. It's your liability that you have to calculate your income. You have to calculate your tax, whether by yourself or by a CA, etc. And you need to deposit that certain amount of tax which has been declared by you. Income tax said, it's your choice. What you want to declare, you can declare on your behalf, on the basis of your income. Then the second point say that is assessment of liability. So first, declaration of liability will be done by the person who earn income. Assessment means verification, checking, cross-checking, etc. Now, department will check when you will declare your liability, whether it's right or wrong. That will be decided or will be verified by the department in second stage. That's called assessment of liability. Income tax department will check, will verify that the income or tax has been declared by you is correct or not. So that concept is called assessment of liability. And third is like recovery of tax. That means the result part, of course. Recovery of tax means the result of 1 and 2. Like in first declaration of liability, you declare that your tax liability is 1 lakh rupees and you deposit it. In assessment of liability, if department says, no, your tax was not 1 lakh, it was 1 lakh 20 or 1 lakh 30,000, then what will say recovery of tax? Department will say you need to pay tax 30,000, of course, plus interest on it. And if it is malified intention was there, then penalty can also be imposed. So you need to pay 30,000 plus interest plus penalty in the recovery of tax. It can also happen the department say, no, your tax was not 130. You wrongly pay 1 lakh rupees. It was only 90,000. Then government will refund. Government will refund your 10,000 plus interest also. So declaration of liability says you need to declare your tax yourself. You need to deposit your tax yourself. Clear? Assessment of liability says whatever you will deposit, department will verify it. Fine. On the basis of your bank's accounts, books of accounts, information, property details, etc., etc., etc. And recovery of tax said the result of 1 and 2, that can be payable, that can be refundable. If department say your tax liability is higher what you declared, then you need to pay taxes as well as interest, etc. And if department say no, you paid excess tax, then department will refund your tax with interest. Third condition is also possible, that if department in assessment say that your tax was right, you paid 1 lakh, your tax is also 1 lakh, then there will be nothing, no refund, no payable. That means your calculation was correct. So if from department there is no news of payable or refundable, that means third concept is applicable. Clear? We say no news is good news. That's also says this. So calculation of tax, etc., that is declaration of liability. Assessment of liability means verification of declaration of liability, and recovery of tax, of course, the result of all this. Okay. Chapter coverage, what we are going to cover in this chapter, of course, basic concept chapter like components of income tax law, steps for computation of total income tax liability, important definition, basis of charge and rates of tax. So these are the concepts what we are going to discuss in this chapter one by one. So do not take tension, just enjoy your study. Just enjoy the journey of becoming a CA. You will be a CA later or sooner. But just do not take burden. If you will take burden of your study, it will be really difficult to clear this topic or chapter or subject or group, etc. So just enjoy this journey, because taking burden is not going to help you. And how you can enjoy this journey? How can you create your interest in study? That I'll tell you. Of course, I'll tell you. I can tell you a very interesting thing, and that is also true. What is it? Let me tell you. Like, Albert Einstein. I just stopped sharing the notes. Of course, let me tell you, there is a very beautiful concept. Like Albert Einstein, we all know that the greatest scientist of all time, Einstein. You know what? It's a real story. What I'm going to tell you, I tell in this every my lecture to every student to make them understand what is like income tax, or what is the concept, why we are technically should doing this course, or how you should do any course or any subject. Like Albert Einstein said once to his accountant, I guess, he said the most difficult subject or the most difficult study in this world is like income tax. Tax is the most difficult subject according to Albert Einstein. He said this to his accountants. This is a real thing, fine. And now imagine, he said that he was not able to understand the income tax. Einstein said that. And what we just discussed in last 30 minutes, you able to understand that? You able to understand what I teach you in last 30 minutes about the origination of income tax, direct tax, indirect tax, declaration of liability, etc. I hope if you understand that, then that you might be thinking that you are more intelligent than Einstein, because he was not able to understand this also. So do not think that you are more intelligent than him. That's not possible. He is the greatest scientist. Technically, we say that his IQ level is the greatest IQ level of all time. So that's not possible that we are more intelligent than him. Then why it's happening? That we are able to understand, like I am a teacher of income tax, so I must be more and more intelligent than him. No, it's not. No, not possible. Do not even think about it. So why he was not able to understand the income tax, what we are able to understand? Understand? Because he does not have any interest in income tax. He has interest in science, like inventions, like solving these kind of problems. So if you do not have interest in anything, you will find that thing very difficult. I can prove you. Like if your parents ask you to go to in some satsang and bhajan and etc., and you are not interested, so that thing you will feel very difficult to do. You will make a lot of excuses, or even if you are going there, you will see that time is not passing and it's so difficult to sit there because you have no interest in it. So if your parents ask, let's go to a movie, let's go to shopping, etc., then you'll be interested in this, of course. So that's that. In that case, you will feel so good. You can go at any time for shopping or movie, even if you are tired, etc. And that's why it's happening, because if you have interest in something, you will find your ways to do that thing. And if you are not interested, then of course you will feel that that is very difficult, it's very burden, etc. And this is the reality. From starting classes like junior classes till now, you might be feeling there are some subject we feel that they are difficult. Somebody feel maths is difficult, somebody history, geography, Hindi, etc., etc. Might be anyone. Just think about it. Why you feel they are difficult? Because you do not have interest in those subjects. It does not mean that you are dumb. No, you all are intelligent. You are on this level. You are in inter level. Of course, you have cleared foundation. So you all are intelligent. But it's happened always that if we do not have interest in any subject, we find that subject difficult. If you're feeling CA is difficult course, yes, it is difficult course. But if you are thinking it's very difficult, it's not going to happen, it's not like that. You and my kind of people are doing it. So there is nothing like difficult until otherwise do not have interest in that. So I have a lot of interest in income tax. So I find it very easy for myself. And what's happening, some of my friends, colleagues, they say, oh my God, income tax is the most difficult subject. But I feel it's so easy, it's so beautiful, it's so wonderful because I have interest in it. So in the same way, you should have interest in your CA course. If you create your interest in your CA course in your studies, you will find that easy, not that difficult. The problem is study is really boring. I personally believe it's boring, boring, and boring. Then how we can create our interest in the studies? I have the solution. I'll tell you after the break, when we'll take a break at 8:20-25. After resuming from the break, I'll tell you how you can create interest in your studies. That's not very easy, but yeah, it can work. It will work. It worked for me. It will work for you. Let me tell you, I was not a very intelligent. My story is like really a sad story of becoming a chartered accountant. So it's not like intelligence. Yeah, but determination, of course, the patience, hard work, that always works. So I'll tell you how you can create your interest. And technically, the day I created my interest in study, the day I feel CA is easy. Okay. So back to our notes. Overview of income tax law in India. So I told you that we will discuss each and everything one by one. So that was like what we were going to discuss, components. So we will discuss components first, then the steps for computation of total income, then definition and basis of charge. So this is what we are going to discuss in our chapter 1 provision. That will be our today's session, and the other session will be day after tomorrow. In these two sessions, we will complete these whole topics. Fine. So starting from overview of income tax law in India, this basic theoretical part, reading material, of course. In this material, we would be introducing the students to the income tax law in India. The income tax law in India consists of the following components. There are 5 components which technically make the dish of this we called income tax. Fine. That is, we can say ingredients of income tax or components. Like Income Tax Act, of course, 1961 is a basic component. Second is Annual Finance Act, of course. We call it budget. Income tax rules, circulars, notification, rules provide the concept behind the act and the way to solve it, of course. Circulars, notifications are like for clarification, for explanation of things, etc. And if there any dispute arises, then we can go to the court. And court will decide in case of dispute what should be the or what should not be the. Okay. The various instruments of law containing the law relating to income tax are explained below. Income Tax Act 1961. The levy of income tax in India is governed by the Income Tax Act 1961. In this book, we shall briefly refer to this act. And it extends to the whole of India. This is section 1, what I'm teaching you. It extends to the whole of India. It is defining the characteristics of Income Tax Act technically, the applicability, etc. So income tax is applicable whole of India. It came into force on 1st April 1962. Of course, it contains section 1 to 298 and schedule 1 till schedule 14. Charging section of income tax, section 4. Charging section of income tax. Charging section explain the characteristics of income tax. So this is the characteristic section of income tax. That's called charging section. That is section 4. So if there's any charging section of anything that technically explain the characteristics of that particular thing. So now we are discussing charging section of income tax. So that is going to discuss the characteristics of income tax. So the first character, which is very, very important, it is income tax is an annual charge on income. Income tax is an annual charge on income. Annual means yearly. So income tax is not going to be liable upon you quarterly or half yearly. This is going to be chargeable on the base of annual tax liability. There are some concepts like TDS, etc., what we will discuss later. In that case, there are collection between the year, like quarterly, etc. But for now, you understand that income tax is the annual charge on income. That is, tax shall be charged at the rates prescribed for the year by the Annual Finance Act or the Income Tax Act 1961 or both. What is the meaning of annual charge of tax? Let me explain you. Okay. So what is the meaning of annual charge of tax? For example, if there is Mr. Ram, okay, and in first year of his business, he earned income 10 lakh rupees. But he does not pay tax. He said, this year I am very busy, I'll pay tax in next year. So he did not pay any tax in first year. In second year, he earned income from this business 30 lakh rupees. He said, this year I am also very busy. I'll pay tax later. In third year, he earned 20 lakh rupees. He say, I'll pay tax confirmly in the next year. I am very busy in third year also. In fourth year, he earned again 30 lakh rupees income. So now say, okay, fine. Now I'll pay tax in fourth year. So how much income we got? We go have 90 lakh rupees income. So he said, I'll pay tax on upon whole 90 lakh rupees income in this year. And because I'm late, so I am really ready to pay interest also. So is this possible? Income tax department say no. It's not allowed because the charging section says that you have to pay this tax annually. You cannot combine it and pay tax like this. If you'll pay like this, then you are going to violate section 4, first condition, which say that tax need to be paid annually. So what will happen? Because you violate the provision, because you violate the law, so you need to pay penalty also. So why it's happening? Because section 4 say that you have to pay tax annually. You cannot combine twice 2-year taxes or 3-year taxes and pay tax combined. It's not allowed. Why it's not allowed? Because charging section says if you do this, you will going to violate the law. So section 4 first point say income tax is their annual charge of income. So let me take your queries now. Of course, just wait. Let me take your queries. I told you also in the starting of this class today, if any one of you need answer in Hindi, type your query and write it. Please explain in Hindi, sir. So I will explain that query in Hindi as well as English. All other queries will be answered only in English. Okay. So let me see your query. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Okay, Miss Gajar Navi Chandra is asking, sir, is this paper is theoretical or practical? There is no theoretical or practical. Let me tell you, this is a very bad thinking. This is a very wrong thinking, technically, I can say. There is nothing practical or theoretical. They are subject and they're equally important. Everything is equally important. And in like income tax, if there is theory also, they are like a practical. You cannot write from your own imagination. You have to write what has been prescribed in law. Like if in income tax, there is a theoretical question which asks, what is the charging section of income tax? Please explain. Then you have to write like this. So, yeah, majority we can say numerical part is more important or more weightage than a theoretical concept. But you cannot say this subject is only theoretical or only practical. Both are equally important. Okay. With Shraddha Dikshit is saying, sir, please take all lecture of income tax. You are the best faculty. Okay, thank you, Shraddha, for nice words. But board of study will decide about it. Okay, okay. Good morning, good morning. It's clear. Very good morning. Gitika is asking, sir, are these lectures valid for November 22? Yes. I also told that assessment year 22, 23 classes are applicable, and these are applicable for May 22 and also as well as for November 22. Okay. Good morning. I am not missed any class. Okay. Akash Garg is saying income tax is paid by earner, IDT is paid by the person taking services or consuming goods. Yes, Akash, you are right. High five on the Wi-Fi. Very good, very good. Okay. Arindam Mishra is saying, sir, please explain once again. Arindam, first I need to know what you need me to explain again. And Arindam, it's a YouTube class. You can scroll back and you can see as many time as you want. So why you ask me to explain again? And if you are asking something, then let me know what you want me to explain again. Okay. Okay. Gajjar is asking what is meant by levied means applicability, right? Chargeability. That's called levied. Levied, and then it comes collection. So first anything will be applicable. First income tax will applicable on you, then the collection part starts. Parth asking, sir, can union government levy tax on agriculture income in union territories? That will depend upon the concept is applicable. So in case of state governments, they cannot do this. But in case of union government, yes, the central government can do this because it's directly controlled from the central government. Okay, sir, we are enjoying the class. Thank you so much. Interest received during income tax refund is taxable. Ankush is asking, yes, interest received from income tax refund is taxable in income from other source. That is going to be discussed in the chapter when you will study income from other source. Okay. I will discuss you with my story of becoming a CA later. Okay, okay, yes, sir, yes, 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 yes. Okay, okay. How much time I took to become a chartered? I will tell you each and every. Just relax, enjoy the study. I am there. I'll tell you each and everything. Okay. Uh, okay. Thank you. I am interested in study. Always feel good. Income tax. Okay. Here's some overexcitement. Okay, Miss Rohini is asking where I'll get the notes from Board of Study portal. You should download the app of Board of Study, ICAI BOS, and then you can log in with your CRO number and you will get the notes, of course. Okay. How to prepare note for taxation, I'll tell you later. So what is the meaning of inter alia means? We can say among others. That's called inter alia. I'm using November 2002 study material. Is it fine? I prefer you should download you should download the latest study material. That is for May 22. That will be really helpful, of course. Yeah, November 22 examination. Of course, these are applicable. These lectures are applicable for May and November both. Okay. Okay, Navi Chandra is your father, Puja. Okay, Puja. How many days to complete subject? Do not ask these kind of question. How many days will complete a subject? How will study? These are the different questions. I ask you, please ask queries related to your topic. That will save our time. Okay. Okay. Good morning from Bhutan. Hello, Bhutan. That was the Tandin Teshwang. Okay. Section quoting is important. I'll tell you the trick to learn the section to quote them. Don't worry. I'll tell you that also. Assessment year 22-23 means that is applicable for your May 22 and November 22 examination. That is called assessment year concept that we will discuss later. Okay, who is this? Prasanna Gavi. Okay, sir, apart from fundamental duty, can anyone escape without paying tax? How does the government know that it has not been paid tax? Okay. So that is the out of syllabus question. How we can escape tax, you will come to know or you will understand when you will become a chartered accountant. Fine. Today we need to read the act. What is the provision? You want to escape, how you can avoid, how you can do tax planning, etc. That is a different thing. And for that, you need to be a chart accountant first. Then you understand how you can do all these things. But from my approach, you should not escape your tax liability. You should pay your tax honestly. Because if you don't pay your tax honestly, how government will work, how our country will grow. Of course, IDT will start. I don't know. Declaration of liability, I just discussed, of course. Anushka Bharadwaj is asking in Hindi, of course. So let me tell you, Anushka, इस एग्जाम्पल में 4th ईयर में टैक्स पे किया जाएगा तो कंबाइंड टैक्स ज्यादा होगा ना. टैक्स ज्यादा होगा हर ईयर के हिसाब से, जो टैक्स रेट लगेगी उसके हिसाब से टैक्स आएगा. लाइक फर्स्ट ईयर में जो टैक्स रेट होगी उसका टैक्स आएगा अनुष्का, फिर सेकंड ईयर का टैक्स आएगा, फिर थर्ड ईयर की रेट्स के अकॉर्डिंग फिर जो टोटल टैक्स बनेगा वो टैक्स प्लस इंटरेस्ट. एंड अगर हम ऐसा करते हैं तो हमें पेनल्टी भी देनी पड़ेगी. ओके. So in 4th year, if we are going to pay tax, then the tax rates will be applicable as per year 1, 2, or 3, or 4. That combined tax liability will be, of course, greater than normal tax liability. What is entry number 82? Sorry, it's running out. Okay. Sir, can I clear my intergroup 1 exam on November 22 and group 2 on May 22? Please ask to board of study. This is not my questions. Please ask queries which is relevant for our examination, for related to our topics. Okay. Okay, we thought ICAI not going to take classes for this batch like that. Finally, we got it. Thank you. No, no, no. Do not think about it. ICAI and Board of Studies doing a very beautiful job. They are taking a lot of, they are doing a lot of efforts for you only. There are no institute in this country who are providing free classes to their student like the way ICAI and Board of Studies are doing. They are searching for faculty for you. You cannot even imagine. You can see me or you can understand the Board of Studies, but there are a whole team is working. Technical team, the team, those are finding the faculties, the coordinator team. They all are doing a technically a very difficult work. It's very difficult to manage so much of classes, so much of faculties, and making this portal to just providing classes to you. Why ICAI doing this, you understand? Because if anyone who cannot afford the class, he should not be skipped from doing this course. So they are taking a lot of pressure, they are technically facing a lot of problems also, but they are providing you classes like this for each and every subjects, finding faculties, etc. You cannot even imagine how difficult it is. But still they are doing this only for you, and that is also free. So please always thankful to ICAI and your Board of Studies, because they are technically doing a wonderful job. Wonderful job. Fine. So back to, I have taken all your almost queries. I'll take queries again after 30-40 minutes. So back to our notes. Okay. So that was an annual charge on income. I just explained it to you. What is the meaning of annual charge of income? That you have to pay tax annually, yearly. Income tax is like your birthday, which comes on annually. It's not like quarterly, etc. It's like Christmas, which comes in a year once. It's like Deepavali. It's like Holi. It's these kind of thing is income tax. So it's not like Eid, which comes twice. It's not like any other festival, which comes twice in a year or thrice in a year. So income tax is like an annual charge on income. You have to pay tax annually. You cannot escape it. You cannot combine it. If you will do this, you need to bear the penalty. Second is income of previous year will be assessed in the next year, and that is assessment year. Now, these two words are very, very, very important. It's are very, very, very important. And you need to read these words a lot of time in this subject, of course. That is previous year and assessment year. So there is no concept of calendar year in income tax. There is no concept of calendar year in income tax. There is like previous year and assessment year. Let me explain you what is the meaning of previous year and assessment year. So listen carefully, okay? Just focus. We'll focus on whatever you are doing. You will be clear CA, you can clear each and everything. So focus is the basic principle of getting each and everything to understand clearly and very easily. So do not distract yourself, just focus. If you are studying right now, then stop thinking any other thing. If you are partying somewhere, then if at that time you should be only focused on your party. So now you are investing your time on this lecture, then you should focus on this, whatever we are doing over here. Okay. So there is concept of previous year and assessment year. What is the meaning of previous year and assessment year? For your examination purpose, your previous year will start from 1st April 2021 and it will end upon 31st March 20 this. So the previous year will be called in short 21-22. And the year after previous year, the 12-month duration after your previous year, that is called assessment year. So when we say your assessment year is 22-23, that means it will start from 1st April 22 and it will end upon 31st March 2023. What does that means? It means that whatever income you will earn in this duration, whatever income you will earn in this duration, you will earn in this duration, like from 1/4/2021 till 31st March 2022. Whatever income you will earn in this duration, you need to pay tax upon that income in this duration. So if you're earning any income in this duration, you need to pay tax in the assessment year. That is called 22 and 23. So if you are earning any income over this duration, then you need to pay tax on that income, not in 22-23, but you need to pay tax into the next year. And your next year is called assessment year. For example, if you earn 20 lakh rupees in this year, and you explained it to government, I have earned 20 lakh rupees in this year. So this 20 lakh is not going to be taxable in this duration. Government will say you need to pay tax on this year in the next year. So if you earn 20 lakh rupees from 1st April 2021 31st March 22 duration, then we will say previous year is 21-22 of this 20 lakh rupees income. And you need to pay tax on this 20 lakh rupees income in next year, that's called assessment year, which will be called 22-23. So we can call previous year also a new name, that is called earning year. We can call previous year earning year also, because the year in which you earn income, that is called previous year. So we can call previous year is also like earning year. And we can call assessment year like taxing year. So in the year in which we pay tax, that is called assessment year. So if you earn 20 lakh rupees in previous year 21-22, then you have to pay tax on that income in the assessment year, that's called 22-23. Now what will happen? In this duration also, you will earn some income. For example, if you are doing jobs, that means you are getting salary. If you are doing business, then you earn net profit. So if you are earn 20 lakh rupees in this duration, then you will also earn some income in this duration also via salary, business, rental income, etc. Imagine you earn 25 lakh rupees during this duration. So now what will be called previous year for 25 lakh rupees? When you earn this 25 lakh rupees in 22-23, then for this 25 lakh rupees, previous year will be called 20-22-23. And when we will pay tax on this year income, we will pay tax in 23-24. That will be called assessment year for this income. Understand? It's a very simple concept, very simple. What is the concept? In which year you earn income, that is called your previous year. That's called your earning year. So if you earn any income in 21-23, then for that income, previous year will be called 21-23. And next year will be called taxing assessment year, that will be 22-23. Okay. If you earn anything in 22-23, then for that income, 22-23 will be called previous year. And the next year, that is 23-24, that will be called assessment or taxing year. If you earn anything in 23-24, then for that income, previous year will be 23-24 and 24-25 will be your assessment year. Now, let me ask you something. Answer me quickly what I'm asking. Clear? 21-22 will be taxing year or assessment year for which previous year? Answer me this. In 21-22, we will pay tax. Of course, we will pay tax. So in 21-22 will also be assessment year, of course, for some income. So for which year income? 21-22 will be assessment year. Answer me fast. Let me see. Namrata. 20-21, very smart, 20-21, very good. So Shivam Kumar, Parth, Sandeep, Parth, Vivek, very nice. Wi-Fi from Wi-Fi. Okay, very nice, very nice. You all are not sleeping. That's really good. Very nice, good. So of course, in 21-22, we are going to pay tax on previous year 20-21. Brilliant. Amazing. You are more intelligent than Einstein because not able to do that. Okay. So let's move on to the notes. So first character was income previous year and assessment year concept. We know it. Now third one is income tax is charged on every person. This is also very interesting. So income tax will be charged upon you. Income tax will be applicable upon you only if you are a person. So if you does not fall in the definition of person, then listen it carefully, then you not need to pay tax in our country ever. This is the simplest tax planning. If you want to escape, if you do not want to pay tax, then you need to do only one thing. You have to come out of the definition of person. If you do not fall in the definition of person, you do not need to pay any tax in our country. So this is the easiest way to avoid income tax. So now you all must be thinking what is the meaning of person? How we can escape? You all might be thinking right now that, sir, what is the meaning of person? Who is the person? I want to escape from it. I'll ask my dad, you do not need to pay any tax if you escape from the definition of person. So you can advise your dad today that yes, I can make your tax zero because I've learned in my first class that how we can escape income tax. Okay. So to understand that how we can escape from this definition, of course, we need to understand the definition of person. So our next topic will come in the category of definition, where we will discuss what is the meaning of person. Then you will come to know how we can escape it. This is the topic which we will cover in basic concept, of course. After this provision in the definition topic, we will discuss the definition of person. So the other topic is like now Finance Act, because we are actually studying the components of income tax law. So first one was Income Tax Act. Now the Annual Finance Act. One by one we are discussing it. Annual Finance Act means the budget. Every year the Finance Minister of the Government of India introduced the finance bill in the Parliament budget session. It just passed on 1st February, of course, and the budget session, the budget passed is applicable for always next year. The budget has been presented few days before on 1st February 2022, will be applicable for previous year, which will be start from 1st April 22 to 31st March. Provision of this budget. Do not try to correlate it with the provision which I am telling you, because this is based on the budget which has been presented in 2021. So every year the Finance Minister of the Government of India introduced the finance bill in the Parliament's budget session. When the finance bill is passed by both the House of the Parliament and gets the assent of the President, it becomes the Finance Act. Amendments are made every year to the Income Tax Act 1961 and other tax law by the Finance Act. Of course, general reading purpose. Income tax rules. The administration of direct tax is looked after by the CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxes. That is the regulating authority of our income tax, which has been prescribed rules, etc. The CBDT is empowered to make rules for carrying out the purpose of the Act. For the proper administration of the Income Tax Act 1961, the CBDT framed rules from time to time. These rules are collectively called Income Tax Rule 1962. Again, reading purpose. Circular notification are kinds of explanation which is provided by the Act time to time. Circulars are issued by the CBDT from time to time to deal with the certain specific problems and to clarify doubts regarding the scope and meaning of certain provision of the Act. Okay. Circulars are issued for the guidance of the officers and or assessee. The department is bound by the circular. Department needs to obey the circular. Department means the department people like assessing officer, income tax officer, they are bound by the circular. They have to fulfill the requirements of circular. While such circulars are not binding on the assessee, that does not applicable on assessee. Assessee means we people who are paying tax. Not binding on the assessee. The definition of assessee we'll discuss, of course, in the definition section. They can take advantage of beneficial circulars. So circulars is need to be followed by the department officer, but for us that is not mandatory to follow. We can take only those circulars which are beneficial for us. Notifications, they are binding for both. Of course, notifications are issued by the central government to give effect to the provision of that. The CBDT is also empowered to make and amend rules for the purpose of the Act by issue of notifications which are binding on both department and assessee. Okay. Case laws. Case laws, if there is any confusion regarding the circulars, notification, or any point of law, any point of act, any point of provision, any point of section, then you can go to the court and court will decide the relevant provision, the correct judgment, the correct explanation regarding that dispute. So that will also form part of our act, of course, for future purpose. Case laws refers to decision given by courts. The study of case law is an important and unavoidable part of the study of income tax law. It is not possible for Parliament to conceive and provide for all possible issues that may arise in the implementation of any act. Hence, the judiciary will hear the disputes between the assessee and the department and give decisions on various issues. The Supreme Court is the apex court of the country, of course, and the law laid down by the Supreme Court is the law of the land. The decisions given by various high courts will apply in the respective states in which such high courts have jurisdiction. Note, case laws are dealt with the final level. When you will be final, then case laws will be deal, of course. So that was the components of income tax first part in which we discuss about the Finance Act, circulars, notification, etc. The second was format or calculation of gross total income and total income. So let me see the queries again. Then we will move on to this topic, of course. This is a very important topic. Okay. When taxes are assessed in some later year due to any proceeding does that violate section 4 of income tax? Mr. Akash Garg has asked, when taxes are assessed in some later year due to any proceeding, does that violate section 4 of income tax? If you escaped your income, in any case, if you does not declared your total income or correct income, and if it has been found out by the department in future, then that is technically a violation of law. But if there is some clerical error or if there is proof that it is not intentional, penalty will be applicable only generally in cases when there is intention involved. If there's some mistakes, then penalty can be avoided. Okay, but then that depends upon case to case basis. There is no specific answer. It depends upon the case. Okay, Akash? Okay, Ravi Jaiswal asking agriculture income per tax levy hoga. I asked if you want answer in Hindi, then do not type the question. Okay, fine. Okay, if you are typing in Hindi, I'll answer you in Hindi. Okay. So agriculture income पर tax levy होगा. Agriculture income पर tax generally levy नहीं होता है रवि, but there is some concept which we will discuss in integration of agriculture income. एक concept है हमारा जो अभी chapter 3 में आएगा, integration of agriculture income. In that case थोड़ा tax charge हो सकता है, but अगर pure agriculture income है तो tax charge नहीं होगा. Okay, so agriculture income liable to or levy for taxes that will be discussed in chapter 3. Okay. Shimmer Kaur is saying, sir, it is clear what you have taught till now. Very nice. Congratulations. That's why I am in. Okay. Thankful to BOS. Yes, you should thankful to ICAI and Board of Studies, of course. ICF free batch of live coaching classes. ICAI will provide you everything free. Do not worry. ICAI classes is some paid club better than paid classes. Yes, of course. ICAI Board of Study classes are better than paid classes. If you download the notes properly and attend the class, you will find out that yes, their faculties are better. Our ICAI faculties are better than the paid classes. Correct. Very good. Gajar is saying, Pooja is saying that you have cleared from virtual classes. Yes, very good. Of course. Madhuri is asking, 4-year tax is not paid by an SST, then which is previous year and assessment year? For every year, there will be a previous year and assessment year that will be separately taxable. But in that case, you are paying tax from last year on the basis of next year as an assessment year rate of taxes, but the department will charge penalty and department can revise the rates also. Department can treat that income black money also, and in that case you have to pay tax with a huge amount of rate, that is almost 78%. That also we will discuss in this chapter later. Section 4.1, that is annual charge, only explain this, that you have to pay tax annually. If you are combined it, then what will be the tax rate, what will be the procedure, what will be the interest, what will be the penalty, that is technically a violation of law. In case of violation of law, department will decide it on the basis of case to case. How tax will be collected, what will be assessment year, what will be previous year, what will be the rate of taxes. That is a case to case basis case. Okay. Okay, you have given a lot of correct answer about assessment year, previous year. Let me see any more queries. Okay, very nice. Okay, Vedant is saying, sir, you're smarter. No. Can we say earning year is financial year? Okay. Ranjini is saying, sir, can we say earning year is financial year? There is no word like financial year, calendar year in income tax technically. We can say that financial year is also starting from April and ending on the March, but yes, we should not use it under income tax. For better understanding, you can imagine that is starting from April till March. So we can substitute it, but do not write in examination as financial year. You should write it like previous year and assessment year. Okay. There is no word also earning year also. I just explain it to you to understand you the meaning of previous year. There is no word like earning year. There is no word like taxing year. It was just to make you better understanding what is the meaning of previous and assessment year, to make you feel understand the concept of it. Okay. Okay, video is lagging. Okay, dear sir, act and rule. Act has been decided by the parliament, and from time to time, for the better understanding, for the process, how we calculate things, etc., rules will be framed. Okay. Circular in Hindi, I cannot teach you in Hindi. I can only explain or give answer of your queries in Hindi. I cannot teach you anything in Hindi. There will be only English medium for our lectures. Okay, so you can ask me Parth. No, not Parth. Vikas. Okay, ask me query if there is any confusion. Okay. When we can pay tax, etc., that will be discussed later. Of course, Dipanshu, you have to wait for it. That will be covered in later chapters. Navneet asking that budget has been presented, कब से applicable होगा? Budget applicable होगा जो इस साल का present हुआ है वो 1 अप्रैल 2022 से लेकर 31 मार्च 23 तक के जो previous year माना जाएगा और उसके आगे का 23-24 assessment year होगा. Anchal is asking, do government job people also pay tax? Yes, in certain cases they need to pay tax, but there are certain income, those are tax free, that will cover in chapter number 3. Okay. What is the time limit of paying tax? That is not a part of our topic. We will discuss this later. I am asking you, please ask which is directly related to our topic. Otherwise, we have to cover a lot of syllabus in our session. So we will not be able if you are asking these kind of queries. Okay. Assessee means there is a definition of assessee. Assessee means who pay tax. If you are earning some income, like your income is 10 lakh rupees, and if you need to pay tax, then you will be called assessee. So there is 4 terms, 4 persons which fall in the definition. Okay, just a second. Very technical. You able to see the video, students? Video is lagging. Just a second. Let me see. Video is lagging. Yeah. Okay. Okay. स्टूडेंट्स रिफ्रेश कर लीजिएगा. वीडियो इज क्लियर. आई गेस आपके पार्ट पे कोई इशू है. यहाँ तो एक्चुअली सब क्लियर है. So now that's the format. That's a calculation of gross total income and total income. In our country, we need to pay tax on total income. But there's a concept of gross total income, and then we move on to total income. What is the difference between gross total income and total income? Let me tell you. In our country, that is income is divided into 5 heads of income, like salary income, business income. If you are earning any income, that will be fall in any 5 of them. Salary income, business income, house property income. We all have these chapters, numerical chapters in our study, of course. One by one, we will discuss this later. Capital gain income and other sources income. So if you are doing job somewhere, you will get salary, that will fall under salary head. If you are doing business or profession, the income will be taxable under the heading business or profession. If you are getting rent of a building, if there is a building and you are getting rent out of it, then that is going to be taxable as income from house property. If you have any assets and it's sold, then any income arising, that will be taxable in capital gain. And any other income, those do not fall in 4 head of income. Above 4 head will fall in this category, like interest income, like dividend income, etc. So any other income which do not fall in above 4 category of income will be fall in other income. So the total of all these income, generally called gross total income. So these 5 head income total is called gross total income. So if there is salary income plus business income plus house property income plus capital gain and others, the total of all these income is generally called gross total income. There is concept of set off and clubbing also. We will discuss it later, but for the time being, you can understand this is called gross total income. And out of these gross total income, there are certain deductions are allowed. Deduction on the basis of your certain expenditure. What are deduction, etc.? Do not take tension. The topic will come, you will understand it. There are deduction under section 80C-80U that we will discuss in later, of course. So these 5 head income is called gross total income. Assume I have only business income. I have no other income except business. Then that business income will ultimately called gross total income. If I have business income and rental income both, then the total will be called gross total income. Clear? If I have all 5 income, then the total will also called gross total income. So the total of all these 5 income will be called gross total income. Then there are certain deduction from section 80C to 80U that is going to be deducted out of this gross total income. Then the income which came, that is called total income. We called it total income. We can call it taxable income. We can call it income chargeable to tax. So this is the income. This is the income on which we need to pay tax. So if somebody asked you that on which income we need to pay tax, whether it's on gross total income or total income, the correct answer is total income. We also called it taxable income. We also called it income chargeable to tax. So that is the format which has been, of course, we will discuss. This is the format, calculation of gross total income. So taxable income formula, gross total income minus deduction exemption, that will be called total taxable income. I have made a format also to make you understand these things. That is income under the head salary, whatever it is. Income under the head house property. Income under the head business and profession. Income under the head capital gain. Income under the head income from other sources. So these 5 income, what you are seeing over here, they have separate chapter in your study, which you will study, of course, later. So total of these 5 head called gross total income. Each head income will be calculated after exemption, allowances, and deductions belong to respective head. There are certain deduction allowances which will be incorporated in the above head of chapter. These are numerical topics, so do not get panic what it is, how we will solve it. When the time will come, you will understand each and everything. So I'm just trying to explain you what is the meaning of gross total income and total income. If you are able to understand what is gross total income and what's total income, work has been done. Do not take tension about what is capital gain, business, etc. There is a time when you will study these topics also. So total of all these above head will be called gross total income. There are certain provision of clubbing and set off also. We have to applicable set of provision and clubbing also. That you will also going to be study later. Do not take tension. Then deduction will came from 80C to 80U. After deducting, you will get total income, or we can call it taxable income, or we can call it income chargeable to tax. So tax will be imposed in our country on total income or taxable income, etc. It is not applicable on your gross total income. Okay. Now, process to calculate gross total income and total income. How we will find out the gross total income and total income? I just explained you the format, and one by one step, one by one, you will understand how we will reach to that gross total income and total income. What are the main components to find out the gross total income and total income? The step number 1, determination of residential status. There is chapter 2. That is my third session, of course, in which we will discuss about the residential status. Whether you are a resident in India or a non-resident in India, that will affect the taxability also. The rates can be different for a resident and non-resident. What is the meaning of resident, non-resident? For time being, I can tell you, if you are earning income and you are in India, then you called a resident. If there is a person who stay outside India and comes to India and earn some income, that might be called a non-resident. What exactly is a resident or non-resident? There is a separate chapter, chapter 2, that I'll explain you later. So do not think about what is residential, etc. So that is the first thing. before calculating tax, we need to understand, we need to ascertain that the person is a resident or non-resident, because it will affect his tax liability. How we will find out he's a resident or non-resident, that will be explained in next chapter. The residential status of a person has to be determined to ascertain which income is to be included in computing the total income. We'll discuss in chapter number 2. Okay. Classification of income under different head. I just explained to you whether you have a salary income, house property, profit and gain from business or profession, capital gains, and income from other sources. What is the meaning of salary income? I just explained it to you. I have made some provision for you to explain these income in short. There are separate chapter of these incomes. In that chapters, you will understand it, what it is exactly in details with their numerical provisions also. What is salary income? If Mr. A doing job in Reliance company, so payment from Reliance company to Mr. A will fall as salary income of Mr. A. Simple, as simple as that. There's nothing difficult. There's nothing difficult until otherwise you do not have interest in that thing. Okay. Next is the income from house property. It consists income from building as rent. For example, Mr. Sudeep let out his building to Mr. Vinod. Now, Mr. Sudeep will get rent from Mr. Vinod. Will be treated as income from house property in the hands of Mr. Sudeep. Okay. Income from business and profession. If you're running a business, that income is called net profit, etc. If you're running a profession, that income is called surplus, etc. That is both is going to be taxable under this head, which is short form is PGBP. That is profit and gain of business and profession. If Mr. B is the shopkeeper and generate net profit of 8 lakh, now this income will be treated as his business income. In which head it will go? It will fall in under PGBP, income under the head business and profession. Okay, now if Mr. A, CA, as you, me, Ankit Sharma, are chartered accountant in practice. So I am in a practice, of course, I have my practice firm. So if I am earning anything out of that my firm income, that will be called my professional income, and that is also going to be taxable in the PGBP head. But if I am working in an organization, if I'm getting salary from some organization, if I'm not doing practice of my own, if I'm working somewhere, then I'll get salary. That will be taxable in salary head. Mr. A as PA in practice generate 20 lakh surplus from his practice work, that will be treated as profession income and will include in PGBP. But if Mr. A is doing job as a CA in Tata company, then he will get salary and it comes under salary head. Clear? Crystal clear? Simple. Capital gain. I told you if you have an asset and you sold it, it transfer your capital asset, then the gain will be taxable under the head capital gain. That if Mr. W sold his house, jewelry, land, shares, paintings, drawings, they are called asset. And on profit, this is called capital gain. So do not take tension. They have separate chapters. You will understand each and everything in detail in these chapters, of course. Those income which do not fall under above 4 head of income will be called income from other sources. Any other income not included in above. All income which do not fall under any other head of income will become under income from other source. Dividend income, bank interest, lottery income, etc. They are called income from other sources. So let's take a break now. I'll be resume after 5 or 10 minutes. Till now, you can also have your tea, coffee, etc., etc. Then we will resume after a short break. So, Mr. Ram. Welcome back, students. So I have taken my tea. I hope you also relax for some time. And so let's do it again. So we were discussing the provision regarding. We were discussing the provision regarding formatting, of course, and then back to our notes again. Step number 3, that is computation of income under each head. So what I am teaching you, I hope you are getting it. And before ending the class, of course, I'll take a MCQ test. So please focus what we are studying. Okay. So step number 3, that is computation of income under each head. Income is to be computed in accordance with the provision of governing a particular head of income. As we just saw that 5 heads of income. So you have to calculate income under each head of income. There are certain income which are wholly exempt from income tax, like agricultural income. These income has to be excluded and will not form part of total income. So what are those income? Those are exempted from tax that we will discuss in chapter number 3. Details in chapter 3, of course. Deductions, there are deduction and allowances prescribed under each head of income. There are two kinds of deduction. One deduction which is under section 80C to 80U. Fine. And there are certain deduction which relates to the respective heads also. Like there is some deduction in salary head, there are separate deduction of that head. There are some deduction relating to income from house property. So these are those deduction which is for some particular or specific head. And there are general deduction which is under section 80C to 80U. So step number 4, we are discussing about those reduction, those connected to the respective heads. There are deduction allowances prescribed under each head of income. Type 1, those reduction liable to be deducted from respective heads, municipal tax deduction from house property, etc. You will come to know when you will study these chapter what kind of deductions are those. Clubbing of income of spouse, minor child, etc. That is a separate chapter of clubbing. What is the concept of clubbing, etc. That will be discussed in clubbing chapter. Set off or carry forward and set off of losses, that is a separate concept also. If you have a loss in certain head of income and you have income in other head of income, then you can correlate them, you can set off them against each other. That is also a separate chapter. Do not take tension about these topics because you will understand it when these topics will come in further chapters. Computation of gross total income. I have told you, you have to calculate 5 heads of income. Then you have to apply the provision of clubbing and set off. Then you will find out the gross total income. Then what we will do, we will deduct the deduction that is from section 80C to 80U. And after deducting that, we will find out our total income that is going to be taxable. On that total income, we need to applicable the tax rates. What are the rates, etc. That will be discussed in this chapter only. That is our numerical part of this chapter that will be discussed tomorrow, of course. Then we will apply surcharge. Again, that is a part of this chapter. The rate of taxes, surcharge, and cess. What are the rate of taxes? What is the meaning of surcharge? What are surcharges? What are rebate? What are cess? We all discuss these topics in this chapter also. Advance tax and TDS, that is not a part of this chapter. That is a chapter 9 provision. What is the meaning of advance tax and tax deducted? So that you will learn in chapter number 9. Step 14, that is tax payable or refundable. If there's certain taxes payable, you have to pay that. And if there's certain refund, you will get that. So now the important topic of our this chapter is definition. They are very, very, very important. So we will discuss definition one by one. And I hope you remember. In the charging section, there was point number 3 that says income tax is charged on every person. And I told you, if you are not a person, then you not need to pay tax in our country. And you all must be waiting to understand the definition of person, because after this definition, you can go to your dad. You can say to your dad, Dad, I know the income tax. I'll make you free from income tax. So I'll tell you how to escape from income tax. These are the definition. If you escape from it, you will need not to pay any taxes. So this is the definition of person, section 231. And it says person includes these 8 points. So if any one of in this country is out of these 8 points. That means if that person does not fall in any of these 8 categories, then he or she is not liable to pay any tax. Okay. So you might need to understand now what is the meaning of person. So these 8 categories are individual, Hindu undivided family, association of person, body of individual, partnership, firm, LLP, company, local authority, and artificial judicial person. So if you or anyone else does not fall in any of these categories, then he or she will not be considered as person under income tax. And what is the implication of that mean? The implication is you not need to pay any tax. But there is a problem. What is the problem? The meaning of individual, I will explain you what is the meaning of individual. Each of these category has been explained after this, one by one. What is the meaning of individual? What is the meaning of Hindu undivided family? What is the meaning of association of person? We have the definition of it. What is the meaning of body of individual? We have the definition of it. What is the meaning of partnership firm? LLP? We have the definition. Company? We have the definition. Local authority? We have the definition. An artificial judicial person. There is a small problem. Small. From point number 1 to 7 category, we have the definition. What is the meaning of these terms? Like what is the meaning of individual? Who will be an individual? Who will be a Hindu undivided family? Who will be called an association of person, etc., etc. So we have the specific definition of these 7 points. And the problem is this in 8th point. It says 8th point does not have any own definition. It says those who will not fall in the above 7 categories will be called artificial judicial person. Understand the meaning? What is the implication of this now point? Either you will be fall in category 1 to 7 as per the definition, or if you are not falling in any of from point number 1 to 7, then you will be called artificial judicial person. That means you cannot escape this definition. That means you should not go to your dad and you should not say to him that I can save you from income tax. Don't do this. Okay, that will be a very bad impact of saying this, because you cannot escape yourself or you cannot make anyone escape from this definition, because either you will fall in the 1, 2 or 7 points, or if you are able to escape out of this from point number 1 to 7, then you will be called only a artificial judicial person. So those does not fall in above 7 category, only those are called artificial judicial person. In our country, nobody can escape this definition. Sorry. So this test planning is flawed. Now, one by one, we will discuss the meaning of these points. First is individual. Individual means any single human being. So if there is a human being and who is single, not that kind of single, right? We are saying that if you are the owner of any income, you are the single owner of any income, then in that case, you will be called a individual. For example, Mr. Ramesh is working in an organization and he's getting salary out of this company, and that is 10 lakh rupees. So who is the legal owner of this salary? Who is the legal owner of this salary? That is Mr. Ramesh. He is the legal and only owner of this salary. It might be practically possible that when he takes the salary to home, then his all salary has been confiscated by his wife or the family member, but it does not mean so. The provision says who is the legal owner of that salary? That is Mr. Ramesh. He is the one who is the legal and single owner of that income. So if you are a single owner of any income, you will be called a individual. So Mr. Ramesh will fall in the definition of individual under income tax. For example, there is Mr. Kabir, who is running a business as a proprietor. You all must know the meaning of proprietor. and he's earning the net profit of 6 lakh rupees. So who is the legal owner of this net profit? That is Mr. Kabir. He is the legal and single owner of that income. So Mr. Kabir will also fall in the definition of individual under income tax. Clear? Now, if Mr. Kabir include Mr. Ram as a partner, having 1% share in profit. So 99% is with Mr. Kabir and Ramesh is only a partner of 1%. But now this 6 lakh has two owners, that is more than one. Even the second one has 1%, but there is owner is two. The 6 lakh rupees has two owners. So if there is any income and there is no single owner of that income, if the owner is more than one, then it cannot be said an individual. Then they will fall in the definition of partnership firm or any other, but they cannot, that income cannot be fall as the individual definition. Mr. Kabir or Mr. Ram cannot be called individual in respect of this profit. So if there is any income and there is only single one legal owner of that income, then that person will fall in the definition of individual under income tax. And if there is more than one person is the owner of any income, then they cannot be called as individual in any case. They can be a partnership firm, they can be a company, they can be an association of person, they can be anything, but they cannot be called as an individual. So that's the definition of individual. Individual means any single human being. In other words, when there is only one owner of the income, he or she is or will be called individual under Income Tax Act. It includes both male, females, of course. It also includes a minor or a person of unsound mind. But the assessment in such a case may be made on the guardian or manager of the minor or lunatic who is entitled to receive his income. In the case of deceased person, assessment would be made on the legal representative. Clear? Now, second definition is Hindu undivided family. This is a very, very important definition and very huge definition and very interesting also. Let me tell you, before completing this definition, you might be a Karodpati or Lakpati or millionaire or billionaire. Of course, this is that kind of definition. You might be a very rich person and might be you don't know that you are that rich person. Your family does not told you about this, but if you belongs to a Hindu family, then might be after this definition, you realize how rich you are and you didn't knew it. And that's true. I'm not joking. I'm truly mean it what I'm saying, that you might not actually aware how much money you have. Generally, we think we do have money after getting 18 years of age, or you have share in your father property and your grandfather property, of course. But you might not know that you have also you can also have the share in your paternal as well as maternal property. You can have your maternal grandfather property share also in certain cases. So after this definition, you will come to know a lot of things which you might not know right now. Okay. So what is Hindu undivided family? What is the concept of Hindu undivided family that we are going to discuss one by one? Let me explain you it. So we are going to discuss the definition of Hindu undivided family. So what is the concept? There is no definition of Hindu undivided family under Income Tax Act. Income tax does not explain the definition of Hindu undivided family on its own. It took the definition of Hindu undivided family from joint Hindu family definition. They derive the definition of Hindu undivided family from the definition of joint Hindu family. Joint Hindu family definition has been taken from the Hindu law. Joint Hindu family definition also does not explained by the income tax department. They took the definition from the Hindu law, which is based on Vedas. We have 4 Vedas: Rig Ved, Atharved, Samved, and Yajurved. Okay. So from these Vedas, Hindu law has been drafted, and from this Hindu law, they took the definition of joint Hindu family. So what is the definition of joint Hindu family? Let me explain it to you. Joint Hindu family in general terms means a family in which you, your parents, your grandparents, your uncle, auntie, your cousins lives together in a same property. Then family technically called a joint Hindu family. Clear? It's a very simple word. You might all have known about it. Practically, you might be living in a joint Hindu family. So if in a family, you, your cousins, your grandfather, grandmother, etc., with parents, if living together, that's called a joint Hindu family. And this definition has been right in technical way like this. It's a all male, female who reside together lineally descendants from a common ancestor property. It says definition like this. So what just I explained it to you in a simple definition, that when you and your cousins, your grandparents, etc., lives in the same property, that is called a joint Hindu family. That is the technical definition of that provision, of course. All male, female who reside together, lineally descendants from a common ancestor property, that is called a joint Hindu family. So all male, female, that means your sisters, etc., also be part of joint Hindu family. Reside together, you have to reside in a same property, of course. Lineally, that means lineally in a one line, that is, and descendant matlab one by one, descending order. For example, if your grandparents, like if your grandfather, his family, then your father, your uncle, etc., then you, and then your children. So that is called lineally, one by one, descending order, after one by one generation. So if those who are linear descendant and the ancestor must be common, that is a very important term. The two terms are very important. Technically, every term is very important. I guess all 4 terms are very, very important. All male, female is applicable for male, female. Assume if in my joint Hindu family, my maternal uncle, son, comes and lives with me permanently. My maternal uncle, that's called my Mamaji, and his whole family, my maternal uncle, his wife, and his son, they also reside with us permanently together. So in that case, whether they will be called a part of joint Hindu family? No, because my maternal uncle and auntie and their son, their ancestors are different from my ancestors. So if somebody is residing with us permanently, that will not form part of my family until unless their ancestors match with my ancestors. So if their ancestors are different, then we cannot be said a part of joint Hindu family. For example, me and my sister, our ancestors are same. So in that case, they are formed a part of joint Hindu family. Now, there is a very strange provision also. You might be thinking about it. In case of sister, after marriage, they will reside somewhere else. So they will fulfill condition number 3, 4, might be 1 also, but not second, because they will reside in some other house after marriage. Same in case of mother. Mother is fulfilling condition 1, 2, but does not fulfilling 3 or 4, because my mother and sister and my ancestors are different. So for the purpose of female, there are separate provision has been made that we will discuss later in this definition only. So do not think about the female concept, because in certain cases, females after marriage, in our family, females after marriage will not fulfill condition number 2, but they'll still be called part of our joint Hindu family. In case of mother, grandmother, they does not fulfill condition number 3 or 4, but still they will be called the part of our family. How? The special provision has been drafted for it. So for the time being, you assume they all are part of our family. What is the special provision? That will come later in this topic. So what is a joint Hindu family? I just explained it to you. All male, female who reside together, lineally descendants, and those ancestors should be same. So if I have a Ramu Kaka at my home, like my servant, which is with us from a very long time, so he is fulfilling condition 1, 2, but he is not again fulfilling condition number 3 and 4. So he cannot be called a part of our joint Hindu family. But there is a concept. We need to understand definition of HUF. In our syllabus, the definition of HUF is going to be asked, or the concept of HUF is going to be asked, not the definition of joint Hindu family need to be asked. Then why we are studying joint Hindu family? Because the definition of HUF has been copied from joint Hindu family. So what is the definition of joint Hindu family? Same definition. Almost same. Let me clear it. Almost 90% is same. Like what is the meaning of HUF and JHH? Is almost same, but there is a single difference. So what is the difference that I'll explain? First, I need to read the provision, what I explained you right now. Then I'll tell you difference between a joint Hindu family and a Hindu undivided family. I'll take your queries. Just wait. Back to the notes. Fine. Under Hindu law, it is defined as a family which consists of all persons. Like we were discussing the definition of HUF from here. Sorry. HUF is not defined under the Income Tax Act. This definition is derived from the definition of joint Hindu family, which is described in the Hindu law based on the Vedas. Clear? Under Hindu law, it is defined as a family which consists of all persons lineally descendant from a common ancestor, including females. Under the HUF, all the male and female are the members of such HUF, and the male and female both can be co-partner. There is one word members, which is important. And there is the word co-partner. That's also important. What is the difference between co-partner and member? I'll let you know. In such HUF or JHF. Now, what is the difference between a JHF and HUF? I'll explain it to you right now. Now listen carefully. I just explained to you that is JHF is like and HUF is same, almost same. Clear? But there is a single difference between this. We know what is the meaning of JHF. All male, female who reside together. I just explained it to you. Lineally descendant from a common ancestor. Same definition is like HUF. But there is a simple difference. Difference is this. For example, assume there is 4 brothers, Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Raman. Fine. There's 4 brothers in a joint Hindu family and they reside with their family in a same house. So they are technically be treated as joint Hindu family. Now, Mr. Ram is doing job in some organization, of course. Lakshman is also doing job in some other organization. Bharat is doing a business, proprietorship. And Raman is doing nothing. He is free. He is doing BCom. Okay. His name is Raman, of course. He will do something. So now, because they all are earning income separately, so Mr. Ram will be treated as an individual because he is the only owner of that income, what he is earning. Mr. Lakshman will also be treated as an individual under income tax. And Bharat will also be called as an individual under income tax because they all earning income separately. But because they do not do any business as a joint Hindu family together, so this concept or this family will be called only a joint Hindu family. They will not be treated as a Hindu undivided family because they are doing business separately or they are earning income in separate concept. Now, if assume they all start a business together. They all start a business together and registered it as a partnership firm. then what will happen? It will be called a partnership firm. The four brothers can start a business as a firm, so that business income will be fall in the category of firm. They start a company, then this income will fall the definition of company. It will not be called an HUF yet. So this kind of joint Hindu family has no existence in the Income Tax Act because that is not HUF. But if they start a business, understand, if they start a business and registered it under HUF as a HUF, then the income arise from this combined business will be treated as under definition of HUF. So you understand what's the slight difference between joint Hindu family and Hindu undivided family if you reside together. Clear? If you reside together and you are earning income separately, then you will be only called a joint Hindu family. You will not be treated as Hindu undivided family. Now, if you start a business together, but as a firm, then you will be called a firm. As a company, you will be called a company. But if you registered that business as a HUF, now this will be existence under income tax as a HUF. Even in this situation, whatever Ram is earning from his job, that income is taxable as an individual. Lakshman is taxable as individual. But whatever is this business is earning, that income only is to be taxable as HUF under income tax. It is not mandatory that all brothers should be start that business together. It might be only Mr. Ram Lakshman start the business together, then that business income will be called as HUF income of Ram and Lakshman. Either three can start a business, even there can be two HUF. Ram Lakshman started a separate business and they started a separate business. So the HUF and JF difference is only this, is there is a joint Hindu family and they start a business and registered under HUF, then only the HUF will come into existence. I hope it's clear. Back to the notes. So that was a difference between a JHF and HUF. There is concept of members and co-partner yet to discuss. That I will discuss later. Now types of HUF. There are two kinds of HUF under income tax. One is called Dayabhaga school of HUF and the other is called Mitakshara school of HUF. One is Dayabhaga and other is Mitakshara. Fine. So there are two kinds of HUF. If you are a Hindu, if you belong to a Hindu family, then you might be either Dayabhaga Hindu family or you might be a Mitakshara Hindu family. Does anybody know which Hindu family you belongs? If any one of you who does not take this class before, like last lecture, or is not studying from anywhere else, so if one of you know in which Hindu family you belongs, this is a very interesting concept, and that this concept can make you rich, very, very rich. So I'm going to explain, I'm going to make you rich if this is applicable on you. Now, what is the difference between Dayabhaga and Mitakshara, and what is the concept of Dayabhaga and Mitakshara? I am discussing it, okay? So listen it carefully. Types of HUF. One is Dayabhaga and one is Mitakshara. In one HUF is HUF or JHF. This concept is applicable in both. So in one case, the HUF creation depends upon death of someone. And in one case, the concept is on birth of someone. So if you are confused in examination, which relates to death and which relate to birth, then remember D for death. So you will never get confused in this. So D stands for death. So death concept is applicable in Dayabhaga. And of course, the reverse concept is applicable in Mitakshara, which is birth. What is the concept? I'll tell you why it's called death concept, etc. We will discuss. Okay. So now start from Dayabhaga. Okay. Imagine there is only Mr. F. Mr. F, he's alone. No brother, nothing. Just imagine Mr. F is alone and he's earning some income. So what will happen? If Mr. F alone is earn some income, then that income is going to be taxable as an individual because To create an HUF or JHF, there must be at least two people. Now Mr. F got married and now wife came into the picture also. Under Daya Bhaga, we cannot create a HUF. Even there are two persons if you belongs to Daya Bhaga family, because they need a death. So there is no death yet. There is a marriage. Now there are two persons, but we need a death. Only on death you can create an HUF. Now in this family, S1, that means son 1 or son 2 takes birth. Still, there are four members in a family, but still they cannot create HUF because we need death and death of father. So now Mr. F became father, of course. So now HUF can be created only on death of Mr. F, not on wife. If S1, S2 mother expire, there cannot be HUF. So the father should be expire, then the HUF can create. Assume Mr. F has died. Now in this case, S1, S2 and W, they can create a HUF. They have two options. They can create HUF or they can do the partition. Under Dayabhaga family, until father died, until he is alive, you cannot create a HUF. You cannot run a business as an HUF. And you cannot ask partition in the property also. So if we belong to the Dayabhaga Hindu family, then that person needs to wait until the death of father. Only after the death of father, they can register an HUF or they can ask for partition. The option arises only on the death of Mr. F. Now assume in S1 family, S3 birth, S1 got married and that S3 birth, S3 and S4. In S2 family, he got married and D1, daughter takes birth. So now S3, S4 and D1 cannot be the part of this HUF. They cannot create an HUF and even they cannot ask for partition. When they can do so? After the death of their respective father. If S1 expire now, then in this case, now S3, S4, S2 and W can create a new HUF, a fresh HUF, or can create or can ask for partition. D1 cannot do this because the father of D1 is still alive. So D1 needs to wait until the death of her father. So if S2 died, now in this case, S3, S4, D1 and W, they can create HUF or takes partition. So if you belongs or if anyone belongs to the Dayabhaga family, Dayabhaga Hindu family, then you cannot demand partition from the property. You cannot start an HUF. You cannot part of an HUF until the father expires. Only after the death of father, children have the power. Children have the power in property. Children can ask for partition, etc. But until the father alive, children cannot do so. That is the concept of death. Death of whom? Death of only father. On the death of mother, there is no concept applicable. So we have to wait until the death of father. Under Mitakshara, same example we can take. There is Mr. F, who is individual, of course. He got married. Now, Mitakshara says, by birth, if anyone is birth in this family, then it can create HUF. So at a time of marriage, there is no technical birth. The birth means if there is a new member in the family and which is permanent, then you can create a HUF. So wife does not take technical natural birth in family. The concept of birth means that is someone new person should get entered in the family. Then a HUF can create it. So after marriage, in case of Mitakshara, HUF can be created. There's a creation of HUF is allowed. And if S1 birth, S2 birth, they can also be the part of this HUF, of course, by birth. There is no concept of death, there is a concept of birth. Or they can ask for partition also. This is very interesting. Under Mitakshara, children can ask for partition by their birth. They do not need to attain the age of 18 years. They do not need to fulfill any other condition. They can ask for partition by their birth. Assume under Mitakshara, child is now 2 years old and he starts saying, Instead of saying Papa, Papa, he starts saying partition, partition. Then partition should take place. Okay, jokes apart, but yes, it's not about if he's attained the age of 10 year or 12 year and he understands the meaning of partition. And if he or she asks for partition, he or she, then the partition should take place. So S3, S5, D1, any one of them can ask for partition if you belong to a Mitakshara Hindu family. So if you are in a Mitakshara Hindu family, then you can ask for partition anytime, even today also. Do not ask, of course, but this is the real power of a Mitakshara family children have. They do not need to wait till 18 year or etc. They can ask for partition, and a legal partition can take place if you go to the court, if you go to an advocate, and he can file that thing, of course. So that's the concept of Daya Bhaga and Mitakshara. Now the question might be arising in your mind, or I guess must be arising in your mind, that in which HUF you fall. How you will come to know that whether you in Mitakshara or whether you in Daya Bhaga. You needs to know that. So there is a very simple concept. You can see in case of Daya Bhaga, the control remains in the hands of father, because until he alive, you cannot do anything with the property. And in case of Mitakshara, the control remains with the children, because by birth they can ask for partition. So if government gives the option to decide yourself, then parents will always ask for Daya Bhaga and children will always ask for Mitakshara. Then government decided a very fixed provision, and they said in case of Assam and West Bengal, those family belongs to Assam and West Bengal, those belongs to Assam and West Bengal will fall under Daya Bhaga. And those family in any other state will fall under Mitakshara. So if you are not in Assam and West Bengal, then congratulations, you belongs to Mitakshara as I do. And if you belongs to Assam and West Bengal, then God bless you, because there is no control in your hand in the property. Now you might be thinking, why this Assam and West Bengal? Why? Why Assam and West Bengal children suffer? Why they got Daya Bhaga? Now a very important cheese need to understand. Then in law, you cannot ask why. You can ask what is the provision. Why is the provision is not to be asked, because the lawmakers knows why they make this provision. We just need to understand the provision, not the reason why they have been made. Like why the HUF is called HUF, why the concept is like this, why tax rate is 10%, why tax rate is 20%. If you will go into why, then there is no answer, because the why answer has not been provided in the any syllabus or studies, because why is very difficult to answer, and that is not the part of course your syllabus also. In examination also, it will never going to be asked why this. It will be asked what is the provision, what is the definition of person. They will not ask why is the definition of person is there. But I'll explain you what is the reason. But for examination purpose, they are not going to ask why Assam and West Bengal. It is just for your knowledge. It's a reason, and the reason is this: Assam and West Bengal technically are the most conservative states of our country. Listen, I'm not saying anything else. I'm saying conservative. It's the conservative. That means they are technically very attached to their custom, their religion, their culture. They do not need change in their culture, their religion, their custom provision. They are not that modern in respect of culture, religion, etc. What I mean, technically in Assam and West Bengal families, generally the controls practically in the hands of their parents or grandparents. Like they follow the instruction of parents and grandparents. The puja, the Durga Puja, whenever it happens, all family members need to take fast and follow the rules and regulation and custom. Generally, in case of other states like where we belongs, we are like more modern. We do not technically, I personally feel, we do not listen to the older people of our family like grandparents, etc. Generally, government thinks so that Assam and West Bengals are more attached to, like, actually the parents control or grandparents control the family. So in both of this law, Daya Bhaga will suits to them because that is practically happening, that the control with the grandparents. And in our state, that is grandparents are not in that much control. So Mitakshara will suit us. So if you belongs to Assam and West Bengal Hindu family, Daya Bhaga will applicable, and other family Mitakshara will applicable. The word is belong, not reside. For example, if an Assami family comes to UP, comes to Delhi, comes to Maharashtra, then still that will be belongs with Daya Bhaga family. It does not change with the location. For example, if a Delhi family went to Assam or West Bengal, again they will be covered by Mitakshara because the word is belong, not reside. I hope it's clear. So what are the difference between? So I explained with the chart and you can understand the difference between. The first difference is Assam, West Bengal's Daya Bhaga, other Mitakshara. Death concept in Daya Bhaga, birth concept in Mitakshara. I have already wrote all the differences. You can read it, of course. Daya Bhaga is applicable in Hindu family of Assam and West Bengal. Second, third, you can read it. You understand the concept and then you can read it. You will understand the meaning, what I am actually explaining to you. The important point is point number, note after point number 6. Jain, Sikh and Buddhist families will be treated as HUF for the purpose of Income Tax Act. Jain, Sikh and Buddhism is our separate religion. Technically, they are not Hindu. They are not Hindu. They have a separate religion like Muslims and Christians. But for the purpose of income tax, if you belong to a Jain family, Sikh family, or Buddhist family, you will be treated as a Daya Bhaga or Mitakshara. If your Jain family reside in, belongs to Assam, West Bengal, then you will be a Daya Bhaga HUF or Daya Bhaga JHF. And if you reside any other place, then you will be called a Daya Bhaga, Mitakshara HUF or Mitakshara JHF. So in case of Jain, Sikh and Buddhist, only these three religions will be treated as Hindu for the purpose of income tax. Now again, you might be thinking, why these only three? Why not Christians? Why not Muslims? Because these three have a common character. Jain, Sikh and Buddhism, these three religions, the originator were Hindu or belongs to Hindu. And the three religions originate from India. Only these three religions is this characteristics that they originated from India, and the originator was also technically belongs to Hindu, as Jain Dharma is started by Bhagwan Adinath, or we call them Bhagwan Rishabdev, and it has been said that it's a part of, he's like a part of Bhagwan Shiv. So because the Shiv is Hindu, so the Bhagwan Adinath or Bhagwan Rishabdev, that is also belongs to like a Hindu. And it started from India. Sikh Dharma originator is Guru Nanak Ji. Of course, they also belongs to a Hindu family. So they converted into a different religion. They start a new religion. So of course, they are also part of Hindu and originated from India. Buddha Dharma started by Raja Siddhartha. That was also a Hindu, and he left all his kingdom, etc. And they start a new religion that is called Buddhism. So he belongs also to a Hindu family, and technically it started from India also. That's why these three have characteristics of Hindu family. So for income tax, if you belong to these family, then the same concept of HUF and JHF applicable for you also. Okay, let me take the queries, then we will move on to our MCQ. I guess time is getting really fast. So remaining provision will be discussed tomorrow, but let me take the queries and just get ready for the MCQ test. Somebody asked Vedant Chaturvedi how the budget is considered as surplus or deficit. But it is not the part of our topic. I told you, please stick to the topic. That's really important. That's a different thing. It's a very, very, very complicated thing, deficit and surplus. So here budget will be applicable for me. No, Shraddha, I told in this class earlier also that whatever budget has been presented on 1st February 2022 is not applicable for examination. That is for next year examination. For November and May 22, the budget presented in 2021, that is applicable. Please attend full class. So you will understand whatever I have told you earlier also. Okay. What is the difference between circular and notification? Circular generally issued by the department, etc. And notification is by some authority. This is a basic difference. And I told you circular is applicable on the income tax authority. It is not bounding upon assessee, but notification is bound on both of us. What? It's commercial property, the house property income, that's just land and received. Jamil is asking if you have a shop and if you rented it into someone, then rental income will be income from house property. If you have a land and you let it out, then the income will be taxable, generally in income from other source. You will get all these provision when you study these heads of income like house property, other source, etc. Break I have given you already. How to get more lecture of you. CA gains some amount from sale in share where should be calculated. If you are a chart accountant, you sell the share. Who is asking it? Prithvi. Okay, if I am transferring my share, etc., that will be my capital gain or loss. If shares are my asset, that will be treated as capital gain. Amendment means changes. If there is something which government wants to tell you, then they can amend the provision during the time period, of course. गजर इज सेइंग कोई भी इनकम टैक्स से बच नहीं सकता, बिल्कुल नहीं बच सकता, बिकॉज ये इनकम टैक्स है, इससे कोई भी नहीं बच सकता. अभी आप डेफिनेशन में पढ़ेंगे, इवन भगवान को भी हमारी कंट्री में टैक्स देना पड़ता है. तो जब भगवान नहीं बच पाए तो आप कहां से बचेंगे? नोबडी कैन एस्केप फ्रॉम इनकम टैक्स. इवन गॉड इन आवर कंट्री, गॉड नीड टू पे टैक्स ऑल्सो. So you might all have understand till now that God is above all, but income tax is even above God also. So God is need to pay tax also. We will discuss this in definition of artificial judicial person. Please explain second point of definition of individual. Okay, Mr. Kalai Vinagan asking, sir, whether transgender person does fall definition of individual? Yes, they are also human being. Definition of individual is human being. So if there is a transgender or third gender, they will also fall in definition of individual. It's not only male, female, it includes each and every human being. Okay. Was this provision applicable adopted child? What provision you have to ask, Tapinder? You just asked me, does this provision applicable on adopted child? So what provision you are saying? I'm not able to understand. Ravan ko bhi bana diye. Okay. What do you mean by co-partner? Harsh is asking what is the meaning of co-partner. We will discuss it tomorrow. Of course, there's a definition of member and co-partner. So when we will discuss about the female provision, there was separate provision. In that topic, we will discuss about the co-partner also. Okay, Mitakshara, good. Okay, Mr. Kalaivanan asking, sir, I had a doubt that whether Muslims and Christians or any other religion people come under HUF. No, only Hindu and Sikh and Jain and Buddhism. They are for the definition of Hindu undivided family or joint Hindu family. Can we merge two business firm or two brother under HUF? Yes, you can start a HUF with two or more person if they are two brothers. Fine. Vrinda is asking, sir, what if son or daughter dies but father is alive? So what happened? Father will be the owner of that all property, of course. Doesn't matter. Why Assam and Bengal? I explained to you. Does the newborn, of course, newborn cannot ask for partition. When he or she will attain the normal age, at least 10 years or 12 years, when he or she can take the judgment or understand the meaning of partition, then he or she can do that partition with the help of their legal representative. Do not think about partition. Fine. I just told you, does not implement it. You should not go for it. Vrinda, I explained to you, if family shifted, it not reside, it just mean the belong. If you belong to West Bengal, you came to the Delhi, then still you will form the definition of there. That means law has adopted our predominant culture. Daya Bhavintakshara. Yes, correct, Kanish. Law has adopted the predominant culture. Second point of definition individual. Khushi, you can scroll back the video and you can understand the meaning of second point of individual. Of course, second point say if you are a minor or unsound mind person, if you have some income, then you can pay tax on the basis of your guardian, etc. Because if an unsound person or a minor cannot make contract. Notes already uploaded. Saravan notes already uploaded on Board of Study portal. You can go and download it, of course. How to make TT notes, I'll explain you later, of course. Yes, if you are belongs to Mitakshara, you are very rich. You are very, very rich. I told you, not even your grandparents, even your maternal grandparents' property part can also be taken by you if you belongs to Mitakshara family. Sir Goon Swamin asking, sir, can I sue for partition even if family does not carry on any business? This partition provision is applicable for HUF and JHF also. So, of course, if they are not carrying any HUF business, then whatever property fall under your joint Hindu family, you can sue for it. But please go for an advocate and do not do this. Focus on your CA. Do that first. Do not think about partition, etc. Muslim and Rajni is asking, Muslim and Christian family will be treated as Muslim and Christian. They will not fall in the category of HUF. They'll be a part of individual and other categories. Second point, HUF are not applicable for Muslims and Christians. Clear? Building is let out. Who is asking? Pandav, I explained to you. If building is let out for rent, then income from house property. But if building has been sold, then it can be part of your capital gain. What is the meaning of co-partner? I'll explain you. I said you. I'll explain you tomorrow, of course. That is a part of our tomorrow session. Adopted child become the member of HUF, male or female? Yes, adopted child can be a member, not co-partner. You understand why not co-partner when I will discuss that topic tomorrow, of course. Daughters can open HUF for females. We will explain it tomorrow. Just wait for the till now, whatever I have explained. Just understand. If you understand that, whatever I explained till now, then you are going good. Whatever the provision for female, etc., HUF or JHF provision has not been ended yet. The time I'll close this topic, HUF and JHF, you will able to understand the all queries related to your females provision, adopted child, etc. So just wait, relax. In case of partition, the income is taxable. You will come to know, of course, existing business. Okay. Important chapter. Daughter can open HUF, of course. I will explain you tomorrow, of course. That provision will come tomorrow. Adopted child is a part of HUF. Yes, it will be part of HUF. Now the time is for our MCQ test. I hope you all are ready. So it will be a like 5 or 6 minute test. So are you all ready for the MCQ test? Okay. Let's move on to your test. So here we go for our test provision. Just a second. Smart session. So I hope you can see the MCQ sheets. So I'll give you 10 seconds almost to give your answer, of course, for the test, and then I'll tell you the real what is the correct answer. I hope you are able to see now the sheet of test. So where is your first question? So do it fast, of course. Which entry and article of the Constitution of India gives the power to the Parliament to make law on income tax? That is your first question. You have 10 seconds to answer it. So question number 1, what is the correct answer? Correct answer is, of course, C. C is the correct answer. Question number 2, which list give power to both state and parliaments? Which list give power to both state and parliaments? Answer me first. Okay, question number 1 answer is correct by Shashank. Very good. High five from Wi-Fi. Sangeeta is correct, of course. Grand Shila is correct, of course. Khushi is also correct. And Khushi Jogi is also correct. Very nice. Question number 2 now to answer. Yes, the correct answer is concurrent list, of course. Option number C. Both state and power has power on concurrent list. Which point number? Option C is correct answer. Very nice. Which list give power to both state and parliaments? That is correct answer is, of course, C. Concurrent list. Very nice. Question number 2 correct answer is concurrent list. Question 3. Who is empowered to make rules for carrying out the purpose of the act? Whether it's finance minister, CBDT, parliament, or none of the above. The third question is who is empowered to make rules for carrying out the purpose of the act? Question 3 now. Yeah, there was some glitch in the question number 2, but I have explained you. Now question number 3 is who is empowered to make rules for carrying out the purpose of the act? Who makes rules? The correct answer is, send me fast. What is the correct answer of question number 3? The correct answer of question number 3, a lot of students has given correct answer. Khushi Jogi, Khushi Gopal, very nice. Gopal, your answer is wrong. Khushi Jogi is correct, of course. Rekha Kumari, your answer is also correct. Akash Garg, you are also correct. Vivek is also correct. Very nice. Rohini is also correct. Madhuri is also correct. Correct. The answer is CBDT. The correct answer is B. I will upload these PPT, the MCQ PPT also with answers on portal after my class. Of course, after 1 or 2 hours, I have uploaded it also. So you can check also answer over there also. So question number 3, correct answer is option number B, and that is CBDT is the one who makes rules for income tax. Question number 4, read it carefully. Mr. Sudeep let out his building to Mr. Vinal for rupees 2 lakh rupees per annum. Mr. Sudeep deposits such 2 lakh in his bank account and also earn bank interest rupees 15,000. In which head rupees 2 lakh and 15,000 will fall? Take your time, but give me the correct answer. Don't give me the wrong answer, okay? Question number 4. Question number 4. Read it, understand it, and then only answer it. Which is the correct option? There are 2 incomes. You have to tell me in which head they will fall. Anirudh is answering option okay. Rohini's answer is the okay. Saurabh is saying D. Somebody is saying A. Kanish is saying A. What are you saying, Kanish? What are you doing? No, not A. The correct answer is, of course, D. Very nice, very nice. High five for all those who have given the correct answer. High five from Wi-Fi. Okay. The question number 5 is about to come. Which is not included in the definition of person. Which is not included in the definition of person. We did not cover the definition of AOP yet, but still you can answer it because I have given you the hint of this thing when I talk about the definition of person initially. So you should answer it question. You can answer it, of course. Question number 5, which is not included in the definition of person. You guys are very, very smart. All are giving correct answers almost. So I can see that. Who is giving the wrong? Mr. Redhiti is giving the answer C, not C. Question number 4, correct answer was D. Because if you're getting income from rent, that is income from house property, and interest will fall under income from other sources. Now, question number 5 in front of you. Give me the correct answer. Kaun banega CA? We are playing Kaun banega CA. Question number 5. What is the correct answer of question number 5? Fast. I need answer fast. This is very simple. You should answer it correctly. It's tricky, but it's simple. Okay. Somebody is saying C. Kamal is saying robot. Ankush is saying robot. Akash is saying D. Shashank is saying C again, robot. A lot of students saying robot. It's saying C. A lot of answer with me is with C. I told you nobody can escape from the definition of person. If somebody is not falling under 7 category, he or she will be called a artificial judicial person. So nobody can escape. So if there is a robot who is running a company, even a dog if he's running a company, like entertainment, you have seen the movie Entertainment. So if there's someone who transfer all his property, all his income in the name of his or her dog, then still he or that dog will not fall in the category of point number 1 to 7, but that will fall in the category of last point, that is artificial judicial person. So that correct answer is D, because which is not included in the definition of person, or include. Individual is individual, AOP is AOP, and robot will fall in the definition of artificial judicial person. Nobody can escape. The correct answer is D. None. Next question is question number 6. Which of the following statement is true? Okay, we cannot answer it because it depends upon definition of previous year assessment here. Let me see if there are any question. This is also cannot be answered today. Yeah, question number 8 you can answer. You cannot answer question number 6 or 7. So I skipped it because it relates to our topic which need to be covered here. So I'll ask question 6 and 7 also again tomorrow. But question 8 you can answer right now. Question number 8 answer you need to give. 6 and 7 I skipped because that topic is not completed yet. You will be able to answer that question 6 and 7 tomorrow, or day after tomorrow session. So you need to answer question number 8 now. Income Tax Act 1961 came into force from, I told you this concept in the starting of this chapter. What is the correct answer? The correct answer of question number 8 is B, that is 1st April 1962. Next is question number 9. Yeah, you can answer it also. Income tax is charged on every person, individual, HUF or JHF. You have to answer this question also. And then we'll move on to our last question. Income tax is charged on every. Give me correct answer fast. The correct answer is question number 9. Correct answer is person. Income tax is charged on every person. We all know that. Section 231 explained it to us. Last question because time is running out. So I am doing it a little fast. Which of the following is binding on both assessee and department? Please give me the correct answer. Please. It's a very interesting question. Which of the following is binding on both assessee and department? Question number 10. You have to answer it as soon as possible. If there's any query left, you can ask me day after tomorrow. I'll of course going to give you answer of all those queries. So, okay, done. So the following is binding on both assessee and department. We know that, and that is notification. The correct answer of question number 10 is B. Other again on day after tomorrow, where we will complete basic concept topic, and that's very, very, very important. After we will discuss a lot of things. I'll tell you how to create your interest in study in next lecture because time is running out. So our today's session is going to be completed, and please take care of yourself. We will see each other day after tomorrow. Till then, take care, study hard, work hard, and you're going to be a CA very soon. See you. Bye bye. Ram, close करें. Mr. Ram. Mr.